Hello, I'm Jashikins, and welcome to another episode of Jash Reads. Now, last episode, we finished up the sixth Animorphs book. I was about to say the sixth and the final, which, there's a lot of more. But anyways, because we finished up reading the book, now is the outro video where I talk about the top 5 things that I really noticed, good and bad. I'm expecting in the future probably to read a book that is not so good. Specifically, The Host by Stephanie Meyer, which I will read after I finish all the Animorphs books, and I'll explain that reasoning to everyone who doesn't know when the time comes, because it does make a lot of sense, and not just in oh, the host is a ripoff of Animorphs way. You'll understand if you don't already. Longtime viewers are like, oh my fucking god, stop. But anyways, Animorphs number 6. As I've stated before, this is my favorite book in the Animorphs series. This is the top of the line. That phrase sounds really odd to me right now. Maybe you should have written it down. But anyways, it's my favorite of the book, of the series, and I keep on reading it again and again, and I still love it the most. Yes, amazing things happen in other books, but this is my all-time favorite Animorphs book. None of the books have ever topped this one. And yeah. And I am going to tell you in just a few short moments the top 5 things I noticed in this book. Now, as always, I always give viewers time to submit suggestions of topics for me to talk about, and I might even expand it from top 5 things I noticed to maybe top 10 if, viewers are very adamant about certain topics being talked about and I actually agree with them. But for now, top 5. But before I get to that top 5 thing that's actually not listed in any specific order, it's like, oh, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. But anyways, before I do that, I'm going to talk about donations, and this is only the outro videos are the only videos that I will always constantly ask for donations. Before I was trying to run something on my Patreon, which is why you heard a little more Patreon stuff noticed in this dramatic reading. But that will not always be the case, and I figured something out, and that will never happen again. You'll see what happens later on, but never mind. That will never happen in dramatic reading ever again. But anyways, there are 3 ways for you to actually donate money to me, and I only expect people to make monetary donations only if they're longtime viewers. It's not like you just watch 2 or 3 and like, okay, she's asking for money, maybe I'll give her some. No, it's like you know what I do, you like what I do, you keep up with maybe not even this YouTube channel, but my blog too. So, I'm just not expecting random people to donate. Like, oh, I just watched this video, I'll donate some money. But anyways, there's 3 ways. All of them are actually, I have links to all of them at the bottom of this video. And if you're watching on my blog, the blog, and watching on desktop version of my blog, the blog, on the sidebar thingamajig, you will see links to them. But anyways, one way is Patreon. Now, Patreon is a monthly donation service. So be aware of that if you choose that form of donation. And there are 2 tiers right now, and both of them have different benefits. And so, such as one tier is like exclusive reviews and exclusive essays, and also if you're into my Chronicles of Gaia series, you can view chapters ahead of time and also view bonus bonus content for that. The next one is Ko-fi, and it's not a monthly donation service. However, you can't really choose the amount you can donate. I mean, you can, but it has to be in like intervals or whatever of $3. So you can't just go, I'll just donate $1 this way. You can do $3. You'd have to, lowest you can do is like $3. So be aware of that. And I could sign up for like a Coffee Gold and be able to offer exclusive perks for, donators, but no one really donates to my Patreon, and the fact that no one really has donated to my Ko-fi makes me go, okay, I would just waste a bunch of money every month and not get any investment. So in the future, I might offer bonus content there, but it really depends on how many donators I get in that case. And finally, there's PayPal. PayPal, not a monthly donation service, and you can choose however much you want to give me, even if you want to joke and go, okay, I'll give you 5 cents. So yeah, that's it. So if you have watched me for a while and you're like, I really think Jash Kids deserve some mun-muns, there's a way for you to do that. And now, the top 5 things I noticed in this book. Okay. I was going to do Animorphs number 1. Okay, number 1. The morality of Jake killing helpless Yeerks. And remember, this list is not in any specific, order. Number 1, the morality of Jake killing helpless Yeerks. Animorphs might be aimed at kids, but it does have some very hard-hitting messages. Some of the hard choices are never said to be right or wrong, and you're left to make up your own opinion. One of the moral decisions is Jake boiling Yeerks alive in this book. Yeerks are the enemy and threaten the freedom of humanity. If they are put into hosts, they could cause problems for the Animorphs and just give the invading aliens even more firepower. So, is it right to kill them in this instance? It all depends if you think it's moral to kill an enemy that can't fight back. Sure, Yeerks will kill and enslave, but during the scene, they aren't in hosts, which makes them helpless. They don't even know what's going on until it's too late. It's a cold and heartless move that seems to shock both Cassie and Axe. Myself, I do think it helped to stop the Yeerks' plan to use the hospital, but it came at an agonizing price. But maybe the Animorphs simply appearing and causing chaos would have shut down the Yeerks' plan. Or maybe boiling the Yeerks alive was actually needed. I don't know which one I really believe, as your enemy should always be able to fight back. But sometimes war doesn't allow you to do the morally right thing. I'm actually reminded of a scene from Game of Thrones where Tywin and Jaime Lannister are arguing about the Red Wedding. Tywin's position was that it didn't matter how you killed an enemy, it just mattered you made sure the enemy was dead. Tywin wouldn't see any moral conflict in Jake's decision, which just creeps me out more. Number 2, Jake's message to Tom. At the very end of the book, we're treated to a more than heartbreaking scene. During the book, Jake has had Tom's old Yerk in his head, and during the Fugue has learned why his older brother became a controller. More than ever, Jake is aware of how Tom must be feeling, and that breaks him inside. Jake has felt the helplessness of having a Yerk in his head and the thought this would be his life. But he had friends to help him starve Tim Rash while Tom doesn't. So he decides to take a risk and leave a short message for Tom. As a quick side note, it was really hard making the voice for the dramatic reading, where Jake halfway morphs into a wolf to mix up his voice. Hence, even though it never said Jake demorphed, I switched back to a more normal voice. Number 3, the Fugue. I'm trying to wake up everyone, in the back there. Who might be dozing off. We all knew Yerks could die by this point in the series. In the very first book, we learned that Yerks die after 3 days of not feeding, and in the second book, we learned about the Bionarchs that eats Yerks. Yet we never knew how it felt for the Yerk if it starved to death. I think in the moments when Tim Rash was dying, Jake felt pity for him in that moment. It wasn't some big revelation that changed his life forever. It was just pity for a singular moment, and then it was back to hating every Yerk. The Fugue state itself is interesting, as Jake has memories transferred to him. Sadly, those memories play as much importance as the information Tobias got from Alfangor in the first book. It would have been interesting to see Jake utilize that information. And at the end of the Fugue, Jake sees a big red eye. So hard not saying anything about this, but anyways. The importance to that eye, as well as any connections to Yerks, will be explained later in the series. And I was about to say Animorphs number 4. Fuck, I'm really liking to do that today. Number 4, Vischer 3's Human Morph. The Animorphs is surprised at Vischer 3 having a human morph doesn't make sense to me. They already have seen Axe morph human, as well as knowing humans are just animals. I was glad to see their resident Andalite being shocked that they hadn't realized this simple fact. The Animorphs' reaction aside, this must mean the Vischer hadn't thought to morph a human before. Most likely because he looks down upon that species. So something must have happened to make him change his mind. It most likely was that the invasion was escalating to the point he could no longer afford to avoid a human morph. Which probably didn't please him very much, and I would not like to have been around him, especially on that day. Number 5, inside Tim Rash's mind. Fuck, I think I flipped that. Okay, let's rewind, pretend that shit never happened. Number 5, inside Tim Rash's mind. One of my favorite things about this book is being inside the mind of Tim Rash 114. For the previous books, we have always looked at the Yerks without really spending time with one. Sure, Fisher 3 would try to kill the Animorphs, but they were never able to have long conversations with him and understand his point of view. With Tim Rash, we are finally able to look into the mind of a Yeerk, and what we find inside is a horror show, I say while smiling. He is obsessed with gaining power and plans to use Jake to be promoted. He likes tormenting his hosts as that gives him power. He is nothing but a power-hungry alien slug. And what an amazing power-hungry alien slug he is. Oh, he's just one of my little babies. In the previous book, we were alerted to how intense politics/power war Yeerks, and we get that specific aspect reinforced with Tim Rash. We also learn interesting facts such as how Yeerks react to danger. They give in the face of danger as they trust other Yeerks to complete their mission. This is odd, as power grabbing is an integral part of Yeerk politics. Perhaps in the lower ranks there's more room for such trust? And that's my top 5 things I've noticed. It's not in any specific order, just as a reminder. And I would love to hear the top 5 things you noticed in Animorphs number 6, The Capture by Kay Applegate. List them below, and I want to see, your points of view. And so, we come to the point where I announce the next book I will be doing a dramatic reading of. And that is... That was a pathetic drum roll. I don't think... whatever, just pretend there's like a drum roll going on. Anyways, the next book I will be reading is Animorphs number 7, The Stranger by Kay Applegate. And this is another Rachel point of view. And yeah, she, I don't want to give up too much, but just say we meet an interesting character, I'll say that. That's not being very descriptive at all, so I'm like trying to hold back any spoilers. So, if you like this video, please like it, and also please subscribe to this YouTube channel. I mean, I just announced I'm going to be reading the 7th book in the Animorphs series, so don't want to miss out on that. Want to keep up to date with that shit. And if you're watching on my Blog Day blog, please choose the follow by email option so you'll never miss another blog post again. And until next time, goodbye.